Good afternoon, one and all present here. On behalf of ATME College of Engineering, Mysuru, I, Pavitra AC, Assistant Professor, Department of ECE, feels privileged to welcome you all to the fourth day of 5 days national level workshop on academic and research writing. Today, we have our resource person, Dr. Jayant, with us. I welcome you to the session, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
I welcome all the participants from the various institutes. Now, I request Mrs. Shalini V.S., Assistant Professor, Department of ECE, to introduce today's resource person, Dr. Jayant.
Good afternoon, all present here. It's my pleasure to introduce today's resource person, Dr. Jayant J. Dr. Jayant J, working as Associate Professor in Department of ECE, GSSS IETW, Mysore. Dr. Jayant J completed his undergraduation from VVIET, Mysore in 2008. He obtained his master's from MCE Hassan in 2010. He was awarded with PhD in the area of remote sensing and image processing from VCET Puttur under VTU in 2017. He has published several international and national journals which are Scopus indexed. He is a reviewer for scientific journals which includes IEEE Transactions, Elseword's, and Springer journals. He was a session chair for many international and national conferences. His area of interest includes signal processing, image processing, remote sensing, and GIS. He has completed funded project by DST, KSEST, and consultancy project by Infi Cloud Bangalore. It's our pleasure to have such an eminent personality as our today's resource person. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now I hand over the session to Dr. J.
Okay.
Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So just a second. Is the screen visible now?
Yes, it's visible, sir. Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah. Good afternoon to one and all. So this is Jayant J, Associate Professor, Department of ENC, GSSS IETW, Mysore.
1 second, sir.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Could you please minimize the MS Teams link which is opened in your PC?
Ma'am, okay, this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Today's topic, which I'm discussing, is research fund proposal. So in the morning, Dr. Vidya ma'am had given a brief about how to write up proposals and this thing. So I'm just briefing out what can be done, what is the consultancy projects, what are the sponsor projects, and what are the seed fundings, and what are the proposals you need to write. So first, we have a question, what is a proposal? So proposal, we say it's an undertaking, it's a short term and has defined inputs, outputs. So to be in a precise manner, a proposal is a document where you can introduce your product, explain how it can help to solve the recipient issue, identify the plan of execution, and provide the technical details for the deal or completing the project. For that, what you need is, you need a well-defined inputs and what is the output you're going to give. Next, you need the objectives which should be realized clearly. So what is the work you are doing and what is the objective you need to fulfill it with a specified cost and quality. Now, where can I get these proposals or where can I get these ideas? It is very easy. So if you have a proposal, first, identify the funding agencies, whether it can be DST, whether it can be any companies. Next, whether it can be your own institution. Next, you need to know what is your strength and weakness of your organization. It is not your SWO, it is just what is the equipments you have in your lab, what you need to procure, or what you need, or what is the infrastructure details you have to complete the projects. It can be your strength, it can be a faculty strength, or it can be your publication, or it can be in any forms. So next, I need to follow up these funding agencies. So I need to prepare an annual report. I need to read a newspaper. I need to go to the websites for formats. So what do we say is, while reading a newspaper, you may get several ideas for conducting a project, or you can also go with what are the needs. For example, last 2 weeks in a Hindu paper, we read a comment stating that we need a IoT for a web waste management system from the government of Gujarat. So are we able to provide? So you need to prepare a quotation for it, or you need to have what are the reports. That means your report says, your annual report, what are the equipments you have in your IoT lab? Will it be useful for containing this project? Afterwards, you need to check with your websites for the format for filling the proposal. So first, example, we are going to use the DST format as an example. Note, there will be a difference in formats and perspectives. For example, if you go for VGST, it has a different style of format. If you go for SERP, it is also has a different style of format, but these 6 contents will be the same. So first one is context. So on what topic I need to write. Second one is problem. Why I need that problem related to this context. Third one is related work. Who has done the works related to the problem and the context. Fourth, have you with some solutions or desired thing, do you have already any products which they can solve the problems which you have identified? Fifth, you need to have what is my aim and what is the objective I need to fill. That means how we are going to form your objectives for the giving solutions. Sixth one is the most important thing is task and timetable. So first, if you are working in a company, yeah, you're dedicated to do only the project. But when you're working as an academician, you have classes, you have labs. So be planned how you're preparing your timetable. So what is the workload you're going to distribute? What are the tasks you're going to have? Would you need any additional resource persons, or do you need any investigators to work with it? So first thing, for proposal development, the distinct structural elements of project are, first one is title. As a morning ma'am told, it should not be too lengthy, not too short. Yes, title gives your first impression of the proposal, and hence it has to be catchy, small, and informative. It should be first catchy. Second, main important thing in title is it should not be same as your objective. It has to be shorter, but at the same time, it should broadly indicate what you're trying to attempt. For example, I will say I'm creating on a website for markets to the doorsteps. So I will say bringing markets to the doorsteps, colon, use of web technologies and web services for farmers. So you should have some catchy words which showcase that as you're designing one product which is related to it. So second, we have an introduction. In introduction, main thing you need is the background, or what we call it as literature. So concern with the background information, urgency, you need to identify the critical gaps or the knowledge need for the present scenario work. So first you need to attend to pertinent questions. So what is that? What is the context for the proposal? This is the first thing. What is the context of the proposal, and why is this work needed? So you need to search your review papers or what is the work done in your previous. As ma'am told, don't go with any of your uncited papers or not SCSI or Scopus. Go with good Scopus journals, SCSI journals. Second, you need to have two things. One is international, another one is national status. Check out what is the work going on in national and international status. For example, if I say archaeological department is working using remote sensing and GIS, right? This is the requirement of one proposal. So you need to check first. First thing is KSCST is working on 3D analysis of the archaeological department. So already one work is going on. Second one, Italy, they have working on creation of 3D mesh analysis. So what is the requirement in India now? They're asking for the proposal. They need to design an decision support system for analysis using 3D mesh and viewment. So you need to identify with the background what they have worked, what is the work going on in national and what is the work going on in international. So how we are going to review our literature? First, literature, you need to try to ascertain the following things that says others have not attempted the problem. You had it in your mind. So second, already secondary data exists. As I told, 3D mesh analysis is already working with cases that is in government of Karnataka. You need to write a proposal which should fulfill the primary data which can fulfill your secondary data of your usage. So next, your need of background should suggest three important things. Ideas of your own work, what not to do. Third one is convince other about your knowledge of past work in the area. So after your review literature, we'll go for second one, that is the problem statement. Your problem statement should deal with the context which is having a set of problems. So first it says, state specific problems of your area of interest, making necessary connections with the context. Second, specify the limits. Third one, strive for excellence. So while doing this, do not sheer the quantity. Don't mess up what is the problems. It should be have more to 3 findings or 4 findings. Just it should be simple. So for example, one problem statement should have preferably in one sentence. For example, if I want in an oil company, I will say technological forecasting of edible oil need in the country. So don't mesh up. It should be strive for excellence, what you're trying to work it. Next, for that, you need to describe your 2 initial statements. You need to have what are the requirements for the production enhancement for importing. Second, you need to develop some precise statements for your objectives. So you need to write a problem statement in that structure. In third one, aims and objectives. Care should be taken in writing the objectives, especially which should be a beneficial to you. There must be measurable or specifical in same way so as to know the completion. You need to complete that objective. Second, will facilitate the intentions clearly. Third one, you need to set useful criteria for evaluation purpose. So each objective must identify your indication of broad and specific measurable outputs, right, within your given time frame. Next, try to have only 2 to 3 objectives because Government of India or any sponsoring agencies will have a limited time. Except for fellowships, you will have a limited time for 1.5 years, 2 years or 3 years. Don't try to mesh up with too many objectives. Avoid it. Second, just one clearly stated relevant objective for a study is good enough. Don't try to have more objectives and it should not be meshing with anything. Next, rational. Specific hypothesis corresponding to each objectives should be related to the stakeholders. You should need to say that who is going to use this project after your completion. So you're just taking the equipments, dumping it into your college or any of your company, and afterwards it is finished. No, you need to say that for whom it will be useful. As I said in my title, if I'm going for farmers or marketing, I need to say, yes, I need to work with the farmers. I need to develop some of a set. So there should be some justification for the project. So for rational, they say there should be a general rule. Involve a hypothesis, create some preliminary information, have a strong hence suggestions. So what is that strong hence suggestions? If you're working with the farmers, so you need to go and communicate the ADO officers, agriculture department, tahsildars, farmers, what their requirements in marketing. Afterwards, you need to design a product. Next, research methods. This section says what are the methods you need to have, how you need to identify, right? So you need to have, first thing is approaches. There should be no ambiguity in giving your details. Try to specify how we are going to work. Second, try to use some charts, flow charts, graphs, or you can have a methodology box it, which should involve the milestones, resources, time, training, and management. Next, work program. While writing with the work program, you need to have some sets called activities. So what is that? List the activities with regarding to your day wise, or it can be regarding to your year wise structure. Second, resources. You need to specify what type of resources you have or which is available. Third one is time. Specify the activity wise time frame. Next, indicators and the evaluation notes. Sixth one, we have a budget. So as a ma'am told in your morning, budget should give year wise or activity wise budget in my detail. Next, justify the equipments, why you are using it. Third, give a summary of your budget. So specify budget for each partner or each equipment, why you are using it and how it is useful to the project. Third one, the budget should match the details given in the work. So fourth, avoid over budgeting, as underutilization will be your negative remarks. Fourth, once all the project activity costs are listed, split the cost according to the funding agencies format, like recurring, non-recurring. In non-recurring, what are the equipments you are going to use? But in recurring, you need to specify what are the consumables you need, contingencies, overhead charges, traveling, and EA. Be specific with respect to it. So what we are going to do is have a low initial phase with rise rapidly during the implementation phase. So don't put suddenly 1 year it will be 10 lakhs. So try to go with a lower one at the ending stage of your project. You need to identify or showcase that I need an maximum amount of funds. Next, simple term, how project should flow. First, coming from a bottom, you have your project description, what are the indicators, source of verifications and assumptions. Everything will depend on these four values. So what is the project descriptions? First, activities. So if adequate resources or inputs are provided, then the activities can be conducted. So what are the methodology you have done? You need to have with respect to your time frame. So expected results or deliverable outputs. If activities are conducted, then results can be produced. If deliveries are produced, then objectives are accomplished. You need to have a separate objective. So I'm saying don't have too many objectives which you can't fulfill. If the objectives are accomplished, then this should contribute to the overall goal, or what is the deal you have agreed. Next, What is the expectations from the any funding agencies? Normally, first thing, funding agencies requires the proposals in your prescribed format. So first, when you submit a proposal, they check whether it is in a prescribed format. Second, they check whether they have an certificate from an investigator and a co-investigator. Third, they check whether there is an endorsement from the institution or the company. Third, now they are recently introduced plagiarism policy. So try to avoid the plagiarism. What is the highlight? Their requirement in funding. So this is the most important thing where they try to fund for a faculty. So first, existing facility, infrastructure and staff details. Second one is achievements. What are your paper published on the title which you have proposed, and training programs which you have already attended which is relevant to the program. Third one, grant received during last 5 years. It can be your students' projects, or it can be from a company, or it can be from any small consultancies. Try to take a policy sector and showcase that you have received your grants. The last one is major projects which you have undertaken. Now, some of the juniors who have finished their PhD, they may have a doubt. You are saying grants received is must and have not received any of the grants. How it is possible for me? This part will not be applicable for us. So what do we say? Have a tie-up with your senior faculties, work as a co-PI or work as a co-Is for them. So it gives any of your inputs, or it showcases your, or it highlights your work which you have already done. Second, showcase your student projects, tie up with any of the companies and showcase it. So this is the highlights or requirements which is must for any grants. Next, what do you need to do? Your work should be innovative, it should be relevant, proposal should be able to demonstrate, win the front of the expertise. Fourth one, it should be feasible, show enthusiasm in your writing. It should be simple, straightforward language, and research based on industrial needs or societal needs will only be funded. So next, most important thing after your completion of your work or while saying that you're writing a proposal, maximally hide your work till you submit your project completion report. Don't even say to your friends, because they can change the title and submit another proposal which they have a very bad idea about the work, right? Second, patent your part of the work which is unique. If you say it is not unique, it has already been done by others, compare your results with others and publish it with SCSI or Scopus journal. Next, after your project completion report, copyright your PCR. And if you have any software or any design which you have developed, also you file a copier, because it can be stored or it can be set. And this is the mandatory thing for funding: how many patents you have, how many copyrights you have filed, and how many you have sold to the stakeholders. Next, don't. Not being aligned with funding agencies, objective, cost, and duration, your proposal will be rejected. Being too ambitious in your projects will also be rejected. Don't use general terms or don't say it is generalized. Don't write too mathematical concepts or don't say it is a common reading sectors. Don't assume your readers know your capabilities. Don't hide the cost, because the cost terms will also be verified, right? Sending the proposal in the last minutes or failing to revise and resubmit the proposal. If they say major corrections, minor corrections, you need to send the proposals back. Next, while coming to funding sectors, you have three different types of fundings. One is seed money funding from the institution. It depends on the institution whether they can give a funding. Second one is sponsored projects. Sponsored projects, as ma'am told, it is a government or autonomous bodies which is trying to fund for your project. Third one is consultancy projects. So first, seed money funding from the institution. So several IITs, NITs, autonomous or universities or private universities are funding for the junior faculties or well-established, just completed PhD faculties. So they are supporting newly joined faculty members initiating their research work. So proposals are selected based on the guidelines framed by the institution. So I may ask, what are the guidelines which they frame? It should not be your PhD work, or it should not be a continuation of a PhD work. That is the most important thing for seed funding sectors. Second, your funding should be, or your proposal should be with related to the societal need, or you should have a tie-up with a company, and you should have a maximum utilization for the institution. So these type of projects will be funded by the institution. So what are the funding heads which comes under seed money funding? One is purchase of equipment, consumables and contingencies. So they'll not provide any manpower or research assistant, research associate, junior, senior, project assistant. They know any manpower will be provided in seed money, and it varies from one institution to another institution or a university. So it depends whether they give a 60%, 40% or 30% of a funds, right? It depends on seed on the institution. So this concept we call it as seed money funding from the institution. So for sponsored project, here we have some of the links for DST. One is dst.gov.in. Another one is EPMS, that is Electronic Proposal Management System. Next, as ma'am told in the morning, DBT, UGC, AICT, CSIR, TIFAC, SERP, INSA, ICCR, where if you have any proposals with related to some specific area. So for example, I need to have only with respect to ICMR or medical related. So I can go for ICMR funding. If you have a links which is outside your country, that is from outside the India, you can have with bilateral research. So in sponsor projects, we'll have two types of proposal sets. One we call scientific projects, where we will submit our idea to the Indian DST, that's the Department of Science and Technology, an autonomous body, right, where they will fund us by having some expert committee. So this we called a direct link. Second one we called as bilateral scheme. So bilateral scheme is India joint with Italy, India joint with Russia, India joint with Japan, India joint with Germany, or India ASEAN projects. So what is the difference between this? Here, your idea will be suggested with subject to the specific area on what they need. But in bilateral, where you need to, they will specify the project ideas, what you need to work on. Depending on that, the problem should be same in both the countries. So that projects will be sanctioned in bilateral scheme. While coming with funding agency sectors, it has only 50% share from our government, another 50% share will be from the Italy government or some other governments. So it depends on what are you purchasing an equipment, or are you purchasing any values, or are you using for consumables, or are you using for traveling. So it depends on how you are going to choose the specific area structures. Next, consultancy projects. So the consultancy projects is a project which is being identified by the company. It completely depends on PI, that is the principal investigator, or a person who's trying to approach the companies. So we say, if you have a technical consultancy services to the governments, to the industries and private individuals based on their competence, your PI should act. So what are the funds which will be received, or what are the heads which can be received from the consultant? So first one is amount of consultancy fee charged after deducting GST. So they should pay to the faculties. So if you are in government job or any aided structure, it's not a problem. While coming with a private institutions or private universities, you should frame the rules and policies for the consultancy scheme. Third one, for purchasing of equipment, that is B, institute overhead charges. C, fourth one is expenditure, on what you are trying to spend. So that is your total amount, A minus B plus C plus D. That will be your remaining amount of A. Now, for consultancy service, yes, or electronics, computer science, anyone can work with the consultancy projects, but be aware that you should have a MOU with them. Be clear on what is your infrastructure, what is your strength, and make a correct timetable on how many hours you're staying in a company and how many hours you're staying in your college. So these consultancy projects or any projects you're going to choose, it should be greater than 2 lakhs. Otherwise, below 2 lakhs will not give you any of the weightage in your marks or your API scores. Next, how the proposal is scrutinized in DST or a seed money or in any of the government. So first, processing of the proposal. First, they will take your receipt of proposal. First, they will give an initial screening. In initial screening, first they will send an acknowledgement. Second, if your plagiarism is less than 10 to 5%, it should be between 5 to 10%. So it will be transferred to the division or to the expert committee members. Otherwise, if it is less and its format is not according to the proposed format, your work can be rejected. So second, after you're transferred from appropriate division, it will be under peer review conditions. So how many members will be reviewing your paper? So expert committee is total 14 to 18 members. You have a committee where minimum 6 members will read your proposal. Out of that, 80% of the members should say, okay, this is eligible or recommended for future process. So how it is recommended, or why it is rejected, or how it is deferred. So you may have, if you have applied for 2 to 3 years, it will be a same TPN number. You have not been assigned or you're not called for any interview. So that will say is deferred. Or if your work doesn't matches with the call for proposal or the same idea, and it matches with any other proposal, DST has the powers that it can transfer the proposal to any other scheme, or they will refer and transfer the proposal to the scheme. Now, so on what basis your proposal is being recommended? So these are the evaluation parameters. So first, demand and relevance of the research area. Have you written a proposal for what they have asked? For example, last there was a proposal, or there's an invite for a proposal stating device development program. So you need to write a proposal to design a device. So we had received a proposal designing an equipment. So what I have asked is design a device. I'm not asking to design a equipment value. So your proposal will be rejected in first state itself. So there is no demand on what I am asking or what your proposal is being asked. Second, potentiality and originality of the project proposal. Your potentiality and originality will be verified with your methodology. What is the objectives you have written, and have you identified the problem? So if you have identified the problem and it is being solved in any national or international status, and the proposal content matches with the same thing, your proposals will be rejected. Third, systematic methodology in executing the proposed project. You have said one objective, your objective is not matching with your what methodology or expectation or what methodology you're saying, and you're not getting the same output after your methodology, your proposals will be rejected. Fourth important thing, if you're working on robotics, try to write a proposal on robotics itself. Don't try to write a proposal on image processing, because your related applications which you're searching should match with the proposal what you have worked till now. That is the main thing, or the second most important thing which they verify. Have you completed the projects on the same set, or have you worked any new projects on what you're trying to propose? So this is the main important thing. Next, collaborations with researchers, institution or industries. So try to attach a letter stating that after the completion of the proposal, your work will be provided to the stakeholders, or it can be in a market through these stakeholders. So that is also one of the most important things. So have an endorsement from the company perspectives or any institutions who is ready to purchase your equipment or a product which you are trying to build. Next, after the recommendation, it will again be verified with finance division. If you have proposed for 10 lakhs, for example, I have an equipment of lab USRP, I say it is around 18 lakhs, but government will give you around only 12 lakhs, because they will verify it with the lab or NI instrumentation company, what is the original cost, including the GST and other. Afterwards, they will give you a sanctioning order which says this is the financial structure. Now, afterwards, they will issue a DD. Now they are not issuing a DD. They are trying to fulfill with RTGS, and you need to open an PFMS account. That's the Public Finance Management System, which will be taught in account sections. Afterwards, your work will be monitored and evaluated. Every 6 months, you need to send your progress report. What is the work you have done? Have you proposed the same title? Are you working on the same objectives? Have you taken the same equipments which you have proposed in the proposal? Second thing, if I have proposed an equipment of 5 lakhs and have purchased is 6 lakhs, so government will not pay you additional 1 lakh. If you take a permission prior, also they may frame a committee and your project will be in stag. So first, priorly plan what is the equipment you're taking. Second, you will have an mid-course correction. They may call you for the interview, or they may call you for presentation. What is the work you have done till now, or what is the work which is pending. Afterwards, you need to submit your utilization certificate, statement of expenditure, and PCR, that is your project completion report for a yearly basis. Afterwards, you need to initialize your final installment, then you need to complete the project. After the completion of project, you need to say, who is purchasing my component? Have you taken any feedback? Or who is ready to purchase your equipments, how they are trying to market it, how they are trying to sell it. So that is the main important thing which you need to decide. So this is your final impact study of completed project. So after completing a project, they check with 5 divisions. So first one is paper publications. Have you published your paper? Have you patented your work? Or have you suggested some other things, or copyrights, or have you taken a review from any of the sectors? Next, HR department, or have you guided any PhD students, or have you guided your MTech students, or have you taken a project assistant and taught them what is the work? So next, seeding at academic institutions. There will also be point if there is an additional amount which is being granted by the host institution which you are presently working. Next, result assessment and usage. Have you got the same output which you had proposed? Third, you are using it. So next, deliverables. Who is the stakeholder you are using your product or using the set which they like to do. So all this thing is weighted at 10 scale. If you get 10 out of 10, you have done a very good, excellent project. They will refer to the award of your project in DST or any of your sectors. If it is between 8 to 10, they say it as very good. If it is between 6 to 8, it is referred as good. 4 to 6, it is said as medium. Below your marks is 4, you will be banned for more than 1 or 2 years. They don't say it as banned, they say, okay, don't accept the proposal because your previous PCR report doesn't say any of the value. And also sometime if you have a good proposal also, they may accept your work. So all the best for the things. So before going with my set or concluding it, I have some sets that I can show. So this is the Department of Science and Technology. So previous, we're working only with DST proposals, that is call for proposal. There was a call from here. You need to download the attachments and you need to work. Now, government has created a new portal that is Electronic Proposal Management System, where you need to identify first, what is the latest announcement I can get. So you can check here, what are the running projects. Here you'll have scheme opened throughout the year. So you need to say what are the schemes opened throughout the year. Click on this blue button, you will get to know what is the format. So if you have active, yes, active throughout the year, you can download the format and try to fulfill the format what they have asked or fill it. Second, so I don't know what is time durations they are going to call, or how can I know format? I need to prepare it 2 months prior as you showed. I've read a paper and I need to do. Go for schemes and formats. You can check here. At what time duration it will be active. You need to check at what time durations it will be active. You have separate divisions which you need to work. So first one is NSTIM for National Science Technological Management System, FROST, Innovation and Entrepreneur Development Cell, the EDC activities. Next, International Cooperation Division. Now you can check there is a call from India, Italy, and also from India, Russia project proposal. If you have any doubts, you can put a mail to the scientist who has been assigned, or you can call between the given time durations. So this is with EPMS, that is with respect to your DST. Next, when I come with SERB, Science, Engineering and Research Board, there you will have an announcement for call for applications on what set you need to apply. Next, you can have, just a second. What are the schemes or programs they are required? What is the online sets, awards and fellowship you are going to have? So as per TARE, that is a Teacher Associate for Research Excellence. It is an partnership with any Tier 1 institutions which is recognized by SERB. Next, we can go with what are the online submissions I have. So your SERB or anything, you can just have a look over it. So official website is Prism. They have, click on announcement. You will get to know what are the ongoing projects. There is no ongoing now in SERB. If you want upcoming, so you can just prepare yourself. So for example, if someone is planning for postdoctoral fellowship, you have a national postdoctoral fellowship where it will be called from May 3rd to June 2. So you can try to work from now itself. You have a 1 month. So if you have, as ma'am told, if you have a power that is a ladies, women category, it will be all over throughout the year. If there is any SC or ST categories, which they have a scheme called Empowerment in Equity Opportunities. You have a SERB grant. Next one is National Science Chair. So these are the schemes which is ready to work. So what you need to do is just log in, create your new email IDs or create your login IDs, and you can just try to work with the proposal. For example, if I don't get any format or template, you can just go to the downloads and see what are the things you need. For which scheme, what are the schemes or formats I need to be developed. So for example, endorsement for core research grant. Yeah, it is downloaded and you can get what is the thing I have done. You need to fulfill this. So just be prepared on what you're working. So next, okay, this is all proposals which you're working. Now I need to apply for conducting a workshops, conducting a training, conducting an internship. So one is Atal FDP, which has been introduced recently. From previous, it has been two things. One is called Abhyas and another one we called as Ritik, and another one is skill development, Samohan. So you can just apply. Now, Abhyas is being called for internship structures. Just try to fulfill it, Karyashala and Vritika. So for internships and organizing a 1 week workshops. So this is the fundings which you receive from the government structures for conducting workshops, seminars, and for conducting an international conferences or national conferences. So next, you have another proposals from ISRO, that is a response scheme. So for this response scheme, you need to download a format, fulfill what you need, but here, you need to write a proposal which should match with the ISRO requirements. So every time they will release on the month of November or December, what are the projects they require to work with separate space center. If you want to work in Bangalore space center, you need to work on some SAC or some designs or some VLSI. If you want to work with Hyderabad, you need to be good at NRSC, or if you want to work at remote sensing, you need to go with IRRS, that is a Dehradun. So every year there will be a call for proposals for response. So you click on here, response schemes and formats. So you will get what are the formats you need. So Form C and final report format. Next one is for MSME channels. So we have Technology Information, Forecasting and Assessment Council. So if you have any startups or if you have any MSME idea that you need to be set up in your institution, you can apply through this TFAX. And if you want any outside, that is India, Italy, you need to go with EPMS structure, that is Electronic Project Management System. So for this, I wish you all the best. What is the proposal you need to write? You can work it out. Just be prepared with 2 to 3 months before what you want to write the proposals. So this, I thank for the ATME College, Pratibha ma'am and their team for giving me the opportunity. So if there is any queries from the participant side, you can just ask.
Any queries from the participant end?
Sir,
Yes, sir, one second. Yeah.
Yes?
sir, I have one doubt.
Yeah.
ಸರ್ ಇವಾಗ ನಾವು ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಪೋಸಲ್ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ವಿ ಅಪ್ಲೈ
Okay.
ಫಾರ್ ದ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಪೋಸಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ವಿ ಪುಟ್ ಸಮ್ ಬಡ್ಜೆಟ್ ಸೇ ಅರೌಂಡ್ 3 lakh or 4 lakh.
Okay.
After we start to do the project, we feel like the budget required is more than what we have quoted. So is
Okay.
it possible to get the extra amount from the same funding agency after we complete the project?
No, what happens in VGST, there is a different structure for different schemes. For example, in government of Karnataka, that is a VGST scheme, you need to have approval prior purchasing. So in DST or SERP, what they do is you need to purchase the equipment at what they have quoted. So they will not give any additional amount. It will be your headache or your institution headache to take additional money which is required. So they will not provide. But in VGST, if you put an approval before purchasing, they may agree.
Okay. So duration, is there any maximum duration we should stick on when we do any proposal?
Yeah, there is for VGST, they have specified 1 year and 3 years. For DST or SIR, minimum is 1 year, maximum is 3 years. When you go with fellowship, minimum, they don't say minimum, they'll have a maximum of 5 years to complete the project.
Yeah, okay, sir, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, I request Dr. Pratibha MK to render vote of thanks.
Good evening, one and all. I would like to thank wholeheartedly today's resource person, Dr. Jayan J. G/SSS IETW Mysore, for accepting our invitation and sharing his knowledge on writing research fund proposal. The resource person during his presentation explained DST format proposal of each section in detail, expectation of funding agency, and shared a few tips that has to be taken care during the writing of research fund proposal. He also briefed about the various types of funding and shared knowledge on the evaluation parameter that will be considered by the funding agencies. Finally, he concluded his presentation with evaluation of completed project and illustrated some of the funding opportunities that are available. I hope participants will benefit from this presentation. On behalf of ATME College of Engineering, management, principal, and staff members, thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir, for sharing your valuable knowledge on research fund proposal. I would like to thank all the participants from the various institutions for their active participation. I request the same participation in the upcoming sessions also. Dear participants, kindly join tomorrow's session scheduled at 10:30 a.m. for the links which is sent to your respective mail IDs, and the feedback link for today's session is also sent to your respective mail IDs. Kindly provide your valuable feedback. Thank you, sir. Thank you, participants. Thank you all.